we're back for our last part of this lesson. We're going to check those answers for week 13, if conditionals, and see if we got them all right. So our first question asked us to find which if sentence would best complete this paragraph. So the first thing I want to do is look at what is the main idea of this paragraph. Well, it's saying that a good friend is someone who is a good listener. Then my first supporting idea is saying we all face problems and we need a friend who can listen to our problems and offer advice. So now I need to find a sentence, an if sentence, that's going to support this idea. It's going to give an example of a friend listening. So let's see which of these answer choices is best to do that. So the first one, if I have a problem at school, my friend should listen and help me solve the problem. That sounds about right, but I'm going to check my other answer choices just to be sure. If I have a problem at school, my friend shouldn't listen and help me solve the problem. That's not right. I don't want to say they shouldn't, right? So this one, of course, is not correct. Let's look at the third answer choice. If I don't have a problem at school, my friend should listen and help me solve the problem. But I said I don't have a problem, but that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I was correct the first time. The first answer is correct. If I have a problem at school, my friend should listen and help me solve the problem. That supports my idea that my friend should listen and offer advice. Moving on. Our next paragraph asked us to do the same thing, which if conditional sentence correctly complete the paragraph. And now my main idea is a friend who is honest, someone who is honest. Then I support that with, I believe that friends should not lie to you or other people, right? That makes them a good friend. Now I'm again looking for an if sentence that gives me an example. So let's see what we've got. For example, my friend should tell me if my clothes don't look nice. That sounds good. It supports my idea. It's almost correct. Did you find the mistake in this sentence? Remember, if we start the sentence with our result clause, we do not put a comma between the result clause and the if clause. So because of that tiny little comma, that answer is not correct. Let's move on. For example, my friend tell me if my clothes don't look nice. What's the problem here? That's right. I'm missing my modal verb in my result clause. Remember, present simple tense in the if clause and a modal plus infinitive verb in the result clause. So that one is not correct, which means answer C should be correct. Let's see. For example, my friend should tell me if my clothes don't look nice. That is correct, and oh man, yeah, please do. Please tell me, because it might be difficult or make me feel bad, but you know, I can know the truth and improve myself. Don't let me walk out of the house looking silly, right? Be my friend. In our last question, it asked us, our last example paragraph, asked us to find which conditional sentence would fit into blank A. So again, I'm trying to support my main idea, and my main idea here is a good friend is someone who is dependable. So that means I can count on my friend to do the things she says she will do. So now I'm looking for an if sentence to support that idea. My friend does what she says she will do. If I look at my answer choices, the only difference between each of them is the modal. So I'm trying to decide here, which modal should I use in this sentence? If we decide to meet for dinner, my friend may always be there. If we decide to meet for dinner, my friend should always be there. If we decide to meet for dinner, my friend can always be there. Well, I hope you chose B, excuse me, because that is our correct sentence for giving advice. Remember, we're giving advice here. May tells me that there is a possibility, and can tells me that there is an ability. But here in our essays, we are looking for if conditionals to give advice for how to have this quality. So B was my best answer. And our last question asked us to fill in the blank for B. So I remember my previous answer was if we decide to meet for dinner, my friend should always be there. Now I'm going to give a results if sentence. So that was my advice. Now I'm going to follow that up with an if clause for results. I will be alone if my friend doesn't come. I won't be alone if my friend doesn't come. I will be alone if my friend comes. So A, was our correct answer. Here is my if clause. If my friend doesn't come, then what is the result? I will be alone. Here, if my friend doesn't come, the result, that doesn't make sense. If my friend's not there, then I will be alone. Unless I brought someone else, and that's not really what I'm saying. If my friend comes, no, because my friend's there, right? Okay, so I hope you could see that A was our best answer there for a result of an action if conditional. All right, excellent work. So we have discussed all the different writing parts, the different writing skills for our opinion essay. But we also need to think about editing. So when we're talking about editing, we're talking about the language and vocabulary. So you want to also, as you're revising your essays later this week and also on your exams, and when you're writing essays for class, you want to think about all of those things: introduction, thesis statements, your opinion language, your supporting details, your use of if conditionals. But you also want to look at your grammar and language and sentence structure. So for grammar, some of the big grammar points that we have studied here in 340 are articles, prepositions, subject-verb agreement, singular subject, S on the verb, plural subject, no S on the verb, count and non-count nouns, comparative superlatives, and modals. There's some other things too that we've studied, so be sure though that in your head you have a list of things that you are going to go back through your essay to check for before you send off that final draft. For vocabulary, you want to check spelling, particularly words that you tend to misspell, words that have I and E in the middle, like believe or friend. Also, words with G and K, like thing and think, right? Those are some things that you might want to check for. Also, B and P, like job, right? We often get those mixed up because they're difficult for Arabic speakers. That's okay. So have a few words in your mind that you are sounds or letters that you know you want to go and check in your essay before you turn it in. And also you want to check word form. Are you using the correct form? Noun, verb, adjective, or adverb for its place in the sentence. And speaking of sentences, you want to also check all of your sentences have a subject, a verb, and an object. Again, you want to make sure that subject and verb agree and that your verb is in the correct tense. You also want to make sure every sentence has a capital letter and that you don't have capital letters where you don't need them. Remember, the only words we use a capital letter for are the beginning of the sentence and proper nouns, like the names of people and countries and holidays and things like that. We don't want to have just random capital letters in the middle of our sentences. Just looks silly. And we also want to be sure that we end every sentence with the correct end mark, usually a full stop. So those are some things you can also have in the back of your mind that you want to edit before you finish your writing. All right, so let's review. In this lesson, we reviewed so much. We reviewed all of the writing skills from all of the lessons in our opinion essay lesson unit about Friends, oh my goodness, we are almost there. In our next lesson, we're going to be writing our final draft and using our final draft checklist to give one last look before we finish up our opinions on friendship. So if you have any questions, I think by now you know what to do. Talk to your teacher. And as always, thank you so much for your attention and for learning and working so hard this semester. All right, see you again soon.